Call the meeting to order. Bay County Veterans Affairs Committee, Tuesday, September 19th, 3 p.m., County Building. Have a roll call.
Lazars?
Here.
Pergandy?
Here.
Stewart?
Here.
Van Tol?
Here.
And Begic.
Here. And the minutes from 8/26/2019.
Make a motion to approve. Second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Citizens inputs. Oh, July. Great. Do we have the July minutes to approve? Did you get those up, the July minutes? You said we were gonna,
Yeah.
but you don't have those yet?
I did not get those. So
Okay.
I'll have to,
All right.
we'll have to review the
Next.
meeting and make those.
Citizen input. Come on forward if you have anything to say. Mr. Zippler? Nope. Okay. Petitions and Communications, remodel update. I went down there, the doors were locked, I couldn't get in, but I'm sure they're working.
Yeah. There's a lot going on at the remodel update right now. So this is pretty much the final week. We're having, painting was done the end of last week and the beginning of this week. Doors were put up, trim was being put on. The office furniture is being delivered on Thursday and installed, and they're hoping to do the cleanup and pretty much be out of there by this Friday. So it's been an extremely busy week and a half, trying to finalize everything, get everything scheduled and in place. So we're good to go. Then we'll need a schedule to have certain things installed, like televisions and network cable, networking for computers to be transferred down. So then we can officially move the office. And then we will be operational and relatively quickly, which will be nice. I'm sure the staff will be pleased with their new working areas. And we were just kind of preemptively talking a little bit about an open house date, and we were thinking possibly the week of Veterans Day. So trying to coordinate that. So we can certainly throw around some ideas, but that would give time to settle in and see if there's anything we needed to tweak. But we're getting there quickly.
Yeah. Questions?
There'll be some additional, like a half wall. As you walk straight in the door, there's an open wall to like a hallway. We're gonna put a half wall in there in the future.
That's that's certainly something we can discuss. That wasn't something that was part of the original plan.
Just the future.
Sure. Yeah, that wasn't part of the original plan. That's something we can certainly look at some future date.
Because you're gonna have a nice sitting area, waiting area. You just don't need people just wandering all over and getting lost.
Sure.
Sounds good. Looking forward to it. We're going to have it all paid for by the 30th of September.
That's the
Bills all covered.
Yep.
Yeah.
We're busy finalizing those things right now, getting that behind the scenes. So we're in good shape.
Sounds good. All righty. Any other questions? Thomas Duncan Yuill. We've been talking about this for a little while. I don't know if y'all got the email from Mark about his research on it. Y'all get it? If not, I'll read it. He's been researching this gentleman, World War II vet, passed away. He went to the National Personnel Records Center, National Archives, found out that it appears he was born in Bay City at Mercy Hospital. Casualty report shows Bay City as place of birth. So it looks like he was born in Bay City. His name is on the church, First Presbyterian Church. There's been another gentleman who's been asking about placing him on the memorial out front. And I guess we need to decide if we can do it. We also can get more verification, but for a cost, it's $25. Apparently he died during active duty, so it might be $25 or it could be up to $70 to get the full record. So there's a small expenditure to verify it, but Mark did look at it and said that he was born in Bay City at Mercy Hospital. Now, apparently they didn't live here very much. They were up north, they were down south, so he wasn't that Bay City was his lifelong residence, but he was born here. So I guess our options are, do we want to research this further, spend a little more money to verify all of it? Or do we just want to put his name on the wall, or do we not want to put his name on the wall? I guess the three options.
I would think we'd want to verify that he enlisted out of Bay City or Bay County.
Okay.
If he didn't enlist out of Bay City or Bay County, then he wouldn't be on
So you
our
based it more,
line. He'd
based
be
it more on the enlistment versus the
another
birthplace. And apparently he's on the wall in Grosse Pointe. Been from Grosse Pointe because the parents were there for a while, and he is listed on their memorial down in Grosse Pointe, Michigan. So it could be 25. The way I read it, deceased veteran that is killed or died during active duty, which appears he was in 43, should be $25. So, or if they can't find it, then they have to do the full service record for $70. So I guess we just need a motion to authorize them, Mark, to spend up to $70, I guess it would be.
I'll make the motion to authorize this
Mark,
expenditure up to $70 to get the full record to find out where Mr. Yuill enlisted out of.
Yeah.
I'd second it.
Any more discussion? So you would base it more on the enlistment site versus the birth site then?
Yeah, because you could be born in Bay City
Yeah,
and live your whole life over in Midland County,
Yeah.
and he's already on the wall in Grosse Pointe,
yeah,
so he might have enlisted out of there.
yeah. Okay. So I'll call the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We'll look into it further. Mr. Keith Markstrom from the Veterans Foundation has a building update for us. And has helped us with them too.
Yeah. First of all, I'm not Keith Martin. My name is Mike Jamrock. I am the treasurer of the Bay Veterans Foundation. And thank you for allowing us to come before the committee today to give you an update on the project. First of all, just so there's no mistakes, Bay Veterans Foundation is a Michigan not-for-profit corporation. We filed and received our IRS 501c3 status, and we're not affiliated with any other state or federal organization. The project that we're talking about is a place for all veterans, male and female, young and old, just separated or discharged for many years, can come together for that camaraderie that we developed while we were in the service, and for fellowship in a safe, welcoming environment. Our plans are to also have room for VA representatives and other representatives from other organizations there to aid and do whatever they can for the veteran. Here's a breakdown of veterans in our community in Bay County, and these are according to the Saginaw VA. As of February 1st, 2019, so they're fairly current. Our program is designed to reach out to every class of these veterans, including the active duty people, which are not really represented in this slide. But our program is open to the active duty as well. Coast Guard station, our Army Reserve, and our National Guard people. All of those are welcome to come and utilize the facility. Of particular interest when we started developing the statistics was the 700 female veterans. And that class of veterans don't have a whole lot of programs designed for them. We have received a grant to specifically build a program to address the needs of those female veterans. In fact, after our board meeting tomorrow night, we have a meeting with a networking work group that have agreed to work with us and do program development in line for when we open up.
I got a question, Mike.
Yes.
You had 28% with disability. What percentage disability? You know, I'm at 20%. Does that mean I'm one of those 2,800 people with a disability in Bay County?
Mike, I would have to assume yes. The statistics we got only said disability, so I have to assume.
You got a disability?
Yes.
Okay, so if you're one of them 2,800 too.
They're yelling this from 10 to 100%.
10 to 100%? Well, that pretty much covers everybody. Okay, thank you.
The foundation is not alone in developing the project. We have support letters from over 25 community organizations, in addition to many veterans and not affiliated with any of these organizations. There was no necessity of arm twisting or anything else getting a letter of support from these organizations. In fact, they were all very much in favor of the program. Bay Veterans Foundation, again, has a history of supporting veterans. Here are some of the support areas that we've done over the last 4 years. Of particular interest, the VA Medical Center in Saginaw, VA Therapy Bingo. It's a big LED board they use for occupational therapy and physical therapy and dexterity for the hands and arms. Same with the golf simulator. And in their palliative care unit, we financed 4 stations that include a microwave, coffee maker, and a small refrigerator so the families can stay in the room with the veteran. The cost of these items over the 4 years exceeded $15,000. 2 of our more successful programs right down the street, Battery Park, redesign, and the installation of the Gold Star Family Monument in Battery Park. And funds were raised not only for those projects, but we also have funds left over to provide a maintenance fund for the ongoing upkeep of both of those. Now the workshop and learning center. This is a front look at what it is and what it will be from the outside. And again, our goal is to create that safe, welcoming alternative environment for veterans and active duty personnel. There's no judgment, only support and encouragement. Other objectives are veteran reconnection with the community. You know, we all wish and hope for that day when we come home. And that's the only thing on our mind. But when we get home, we find that the community is different, we're different, and the whole situation is different. And that can cause a whole lot of anxiety and depression. One of our goals is to have this center for people to come and reconnect with their fellow veterans, to get that camaraderie that for 2, 4, 6 years they've had to support themselves. Develop that sense of belonging and opportunity to learn of the VA programs and benefits. There are still many, many veterans that aren't aware of what benefits are aware of them. And again, our intention is to have an office or counseling station for representatives from the VA or other VSO officers to come and do that explanation. Support system for those suffering from PTSD or depression. We've had a request that in one of our rooms it's highly insulated for noise. We want to make it a noise-free for anyone that has a problem with around fireworks time or something. There's a place they can come and be. Our building's now under deconstruction, and it's a starting point. It's kind of that blank box that we have, and we have to fill it with our accomplishments, success, failures, and our hopes for the future. This is the latest architect's rendition that we have of the building layout. Phase 1 will include the installation of new HVAC, electrical, and plumbing, along with the workshop storage areas. The very front, the large space, and the 2 rooms to the left there, that's the phase 1. That's our wood shop and the 2 storage spaces. Behind that, you can see multi-chairs. That's going to be a multi-purpose room with computer capabilities. Behind that is a lounge, further away from Madison and any road noises we can get. That's the room we hope to have soundproofed for those purposes. Across the hall is a small kitchenette, very small administrative area, and a reception area. The front part there are certainly a meeting room and counseling areas for the various organizations that we hope to have come in. The large space at the bottom is now an unattached garage. We will be having a double door into that. That's phase 3, and that area will be developed as a metal shop. Hopefully some welders, metal lathes, and that type of thing. The DEQ has approved a project for us, and it's in the final stages of completion. Their approval was some $190,000, and it entailed removing, remediating contaminated soil. Used to be a gas station. They found an additional tank that no one knew about as they were doing the soil removal, and total asbestos remediation throughout the building. Our goal again is to create that safe environment. Certainly that doesn't include having any asbestos or other materials. Certainly with the help of Bay County Sheriff Department, a work group of trustees have been doing the majority of the tearing out of studs, ceiling supports, and old electrical conduit. I can't tell you how much we appreciate their efforts, and in talking to Troy, it seems that it's a two-way street. They appreciate coming over and having something to do. Here's the source of funds and expenses as of December 31st. You can see that, again, the majority of the $260,000 in total came from grants. Certainly one of those grants were from the Soldier Sailors Fund, but particularly important is the funds produced by our pheasant shoot and our golf outing. Those are gross revenue numbers. Both of those programs netted about $23,000 for 2018. This year, we did better. We expanded. We raised over $25,000 from those two fundraising events.
Mike, what are the other expenditures? $4,432 in other expenditures?
Untold miscellaneous items, Mike. I don't have a complete breakdown of those. Office support, administrative support, 990 filing, our accounting software, those types of things.
Okay, thank you.
The building is debt-free, and there's no outstanding bills at this time for any professional services as connected with it. Our monthly expenses, utilities, insurance, general maintenance, is projected once we're in the building at $2,100 a month or $25,200 annually. We will be able to fund upkeep of the building for basic services through our two fundraising efforts without going into any grants. However, the fundraising and grants will be an ongoing effort, again, to improve the program. And after discussion with business leaders and some local philanthropists, we believe that funding for ongoing operations will not present an unresolvable problem. We've had a few discussions as far as sponsoring utilities for a 6-month period for the building from certain individuals and those types of things. Staffing will come from volunteers until the funding becomes available for paid staffing. We're appreciative of the support from the Soldier Sailors Relief Fund. It's allowed us to move forward with the development of the program without the burden of debt on us. Currently, we have a balance in the activity fund of $56,000. Soldier and Sailor Fund awarded us $75,000 towards the purchase of the building. which we did do in August of 2018, and 50,000 towards program development, which again, the balance of 56,000, we've been using all other sources of funds to support this operation and leaving that $50,000 grant there. How can everybody help? Well, first, we need positive supporters. We have a concept in our program, and with all concepts, they change as the days go forward. What was good when Keith and I first had this idea back in 2013 is totally changed here in 2019. And I think that's healthy for a program. The changing, reflecting of new needs of the community. We built the box, and now we have to build the shelves. Different programs that we're going to put into the program. It adds an unnecessary burden to our program if veterans can't get behind a program that's to help veterans. Communication, finding recruits for our veterans, donation, certainly money is important, but time, people coming over and helping, pulling nails out of the 2x4s so we can recycle the studs into additional walls or sawhorses. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Facebook, what's the group name for Facebook? If you put in Bay Veterans Foundation, I imagine you should get that.
You just go to Bay Veterans Foundation,
Yeah.
there's a page on it. And our website is under reconstruction right now. I would just follow up on a couple of other questions that had been posed to Mike and I. Keith Markstrom, President of Bay Veterans Foundation, for the record. About staffing, yeah, Mike said that right now we've been operating on volunteers, and we continue to do that. We'll always have a core of volunteers, like most not-for-profits, but we can't wait for the day comes that we can hire a couple of staff. Preferably there would be veterans to run these programs. We have to also remind ourselves periodically, we cannot find another project like this. This is a pilot project. This could be a model project, and we continue to search. We made contact with the Michigan Veterans Affairs Agency at the state level, and they can't find anything like this as well. So I think that speaks to the uniqueness and the need. Why did we choose to do this? I think you've all heard that this county has the highest concentration of veterans per capita of any county in the state. And that's where when that number of 700 women surfaced out of 8,000, that just blew us away. And a quick note on that. We had our second meeting with the women veterans last week. We invited 10. 6 came. 3 indicated that they had strong interest. They just had conflicts on those days. As Mike indicated, tomorrow after our board meeting, we're meeting with that same group. In a very short period of time, one of them jumped on board and is assisting us in applying for grants. One has taken on the task of developing a bid package for communications at the building. That would be telephone, internet, etc. And another 2 took on the task of our river cruise coming up Saturday, the 21st. If anybody's available and they would like to go on a river cruise, it's 5:30 boarding, 6 to 9. But they did all the marketing, the sponsorship, getting sponsors and so on and so forth. And they cannot wait until this facility opens. When one said, "You mean someone could teach me how to use a hammer?" In all seriousness, and to find out that they can learn to use a table saw or chop saw or whatever, they were just thrilled. I have to say too, in reference to the use of the Sheriff's Department, the volunteer labor, one of the fellows who was just fulfilled his sentence a week ago after 7 months was an airman veteran. He was injured while he was in service, didn't know that he was eligible for VA benefits, so we brought him over. Mark Kazmary got him enrolled. Crystal gave him a card. He hadn't had anything in his house for 7 months because he hadn't lived there. He's coming down tonight to get some of the 2x6s so he can repair the roof on his trailer. We had my kid's neighbor called me the other day, a Vietnam veteran, never joined any kind of an organization, has trouble with booze, and can't wait to come over and pull some nails. I gotta keep busy, So we've had some outreach without even, we've had people reach out to us rather than us do outreach. So I can only imagine. It was asked what our projected daily usage was. Again, it depends on the programs and activities that are slated for that day or that time period. It depends on if people want to come in and work on individual projects or if they want to come in and do group project. It doesn't have to necessarily be on site either. Target groups that we intend on continuing to communicate with include those who are seeking assistance through soldier sailors. I think you're all aware of the, you know, we really assist very few, about 200 or less than 200 annually. And it's a godsend for those folks, but what about those who are not aware of our services and programs? Veteran sheltering at the Samaritan Center. These folks who are homeless have to find a place to go from 8 to 5. There's no reason they can't come over here to the building or go take care of Battery Park. We've had donated mowers and so on and so forth. At-large veterans seems to be the biggest group that we would target. Those are those, again, that those are not affiliated with veteran service organizations, but we'd be glad to have opportunity for Legion or AMVETS or PLOB to come over periodically and talk about their programs and what they stand for, or at least have brochures available in case somebody would like to join those organizations. Mike mentioned the Coast Guard. I talked to the 23 or 24 Coasties out here on 3-year status. This is their home. They don't have a place to go. They don't have a garage to go and work on something. They were thrilled to know that we're going to be doing something like this. And then we have the reserve units. We also are tied in pretty deeply with the SVSU and Delta College student veterans. If we're pushed for a number, I would say off the top of our heads and from what we've done, between 20 and 30 people a day would be a conservative number. Question was asked, is there a business plan in place? We've had to develop business plans for various grants in order to get the initial funding. Now the business plan is being rewritten as specific needs of the building are being met, programs are being developed, and as grant applications continue to be written. We've changed from acquisition of the building and cleaning it out now to reconstruction, equipping it with tools, etc., and then programming. As certain goals are achieved or accomplishments made, the plan will get amended. It's a dynamic process. If anybody on the committee would like a copy of our original business plan, we'd be glad to provide that. With that, we're open to questions.
I have a question about, so veteran service officers, you're talking about having some of them come in there to talk to veterans also?
Well, you know, it's nice that we're doing the remodel here and making this facility a lot more accessible, but perhaps on a Saturday afternoon or an evening, or if somebody may not want to come over here, would be more than happy to provide hours at any time for somebody from here to come over and process. We will continue to work with the county because the county has worked so well with us. Marilyn?
What are your hours of operation going to be?
Well, tonight we're going to be there from 6:30 to 9 because that's when our work group. We don't know, Marilyn, and that's a good question because we've got to be flexible. Because we've got folks who, for those active duty, we may want to be open in the evenings. We want to maybe on Saturdays and Sundays. It's all going to be dictated by demand for usage. But we're not going to say it's just an 8 to 5 business. It's got to be very flexible.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I've got a comment, it's not a question. I think your estimate of daily uses is excessively high. I think you're going to find it's less than that. And, you know, somehow or another we've assumed that all veterans are disparate individuals. Well, I'm looking around and I don't think any of us are. And I don't think most of the veterans in this county are. In fact, if you look at the poverty level of veterans in this county, I think it's 609 below poverty level. That's it. So, good luck with your endeavor. But I think your usage is going to be well below what you think it's going to be.
Well, I guess that's a hard thing to project, Mike. I
It
would
is.
say that a measure of success, and one of the reasons perhaps the veterans have continued to return here home or to move into this area is because of employment in the past. Unemployment for veterans is extremely low. But that doesn't mean that there aren't people out there that desire to have camaraderie in a different setting than where they're going now, if they're going anyplace. So this isn't directed strictly at those who are high risk or in need. It's just like the ladies. Until you start scratching the surface on some of these things, we're not going to know. But I still think that these are dollars well spent. They can be transferred into many different things. While the primary focus is veterans, we can also use veterans to assist those in the community who may not be veterans, at-risk kids. Before Dave Rogers passed away recently, we were working with him on his charter school concept to be that high-risk population of 18 to 24-year-olds. There's nothing being provided to those kids. And I can't remember what the numbers that he came up with were staggering. And he thought if we could use them in a trade school environment to at least introduce them to certain tools and equipment, that might spur them or motivate them or encourage them. So there's a lot more questions that we have ourselves than we have answers. But I think that, again, because of uniqueness and we're starting to get attention of our elected officials, we are aligning with the MVAA with their Outreach for Women's project, and we'll just have to see what the future's going to write. But we can direct it as best we can as well. Troy.
Not to contradict what Mike said, I think, I personally think your numbers are going to be good. And I'll tell you my reason. I've lived in Bay County 18 years, the longest I've ever lived in any house in my life. I've spent 20 years in the service. And all my friends pretty much are the veterans I met here in town. I don't have a place to go work. I'm working things with them, and I don't really prefer to go to a bar and sit with them. So I can tell you I'll be one of the 20 probably most every night after I get out of work. I'll swing by there just as I used to do at the volunteer fire department and the big brothers, big sisters, and the boys clubs when I was stationed down south. To me, it would be a nice place to go and unwind after work, and I'm sure my wife and my daughter are two of the 700 female veterans here in the county. So I look at it a different way. I think it'd be a nice place for me to go to unwind a little bit after work, see some people, maybe some of our veterans that are in the jail, have them over there and help them get back on their feet if it's nothing more than putting house kits together for the kids out there at the State Park, because I know both my daughters enjoy doing that. We have two of those bluebird boxes in our pond in our backyard now. So I look at it differently. I think it'd be a nice place to go by, and I also look for I don't sleep well, so I'm up at 4. I wouldn't mind even being the volunteer that comes in the morning and makes coffee for the guys that want to swing by and have a cup of coffee. That's just the way I look at it. Maybe I'm off, but you can ensure that I'll be by there every night after work. It's within a walking distance for me, so I'm pretty fortunate.
Well, I want to make one thing real clear, too, and that is we're not going to be a bar. You're not going to find a 6-pack or 12-pack in the refrigerator on a Saturday afternoon when it's game time. Now, I'm not saying we won't ever have alcohol on premises. If we do, it will be a special event for a cookout or something. But this is not a place where people are going to come and just flop.
I appreciate that. I'm coming back tomorrow night. If you're going to be there, you're going to meeting with the young man that's suffering right now with alcohol. She's a veteran, and I'm helping sponsor him. We'll probably be by there pulling nails tomorrow. I think having a place without alcohol is nice for people.
Yeah, Keith, could you tell me what plans you have on your liability insurance? Have you gotten the price on that? Because especially if you're going to have alcohol on site and you've got power tools, I think you're going to have to vet your people very carefully, because if somebody loses a right hand or something, it's going to be, you're looking at a major loss.
We have right now a complete safety program developed by Dave Bledsoe, who was head of the construction arts at Delta College. pretty much the same safety program that they run all their students through. Before anyone will have the opportunity to use any power equipment, we have to have documentation that they went through our program, not someone else's, our program. Liability insurance we have right now on both the building and anyone working in our facility right now are covered. One of the ideas we're looking at is to have the entire workshop cameraed with someone in the reception area who can watch over who's doing what. So yeah, MCI has been very good working with us, saying these are the requirements and letting us have some time to develop those needed items.
Yeah, I've been doing compensation and pension physicals, so I'm starting to see a lot of even the Vietnam vets coming up, because of the new findings about the Agent Orange exposure. So a lot of them that were sort of like in the weeds that didn't want to come out and admit they had a problem are starting to come out a little bit more because of the publicity about Agent Orange and other things. And then Gulf War, starting to get a lot of Gulf War guys coming back. So I mean, it's not a never-ending stream of veterans coming back. It's not going to end. So I think we just have to get the word out and let people know what's going on. The sensory room's sort of interesting because we just did one up at Camp Fishtails. Our Lions Club supplied the sensory room for these are, disabled or, learning disability kids that go up there, and they have some of the similar problems with noise and stuff going on around them, and so they like a quiet room also. And I know a lot of the veterans, when the fireworks are going off or whatever, it's not a good thing for them. So.
I'd like to add one additional note from a historic perspective. This building had been used for multiple things over the years, and the best that we can trace back is there's a picture. This is from a postcard. You can see it somewhat faintly on your screen, but this is obviously the depot, and this depot is being looked at from the northwest. This building right here is the building that we have. That's facing Bautel Place. And after we tore the metal sheathing off, that brick looks like individual brick, but it's poured brick. It's cast in slabs. And we want to bring that facade back to look like this so that it blends with the depot. Our site plan calls for green space, obviously parking lot, so on. So we think that not only is this going to have a great opportunity for those who are coming there for services, but it's going to look pleasant in that area of the community.
I hopped a bus at that depot in April of '69.
Yeah.
Everybody remembers that bus ride or a train ride or whatever it was, going away from home, heading who knows where. So, yeah, brings back memories. Any other comments?
I'd like to commend you for your forethought and thinking forward. And like you said, it's a ever-evolving operation in your business plan. But I'd like the point that Keith brought out that maybe we won't have all veterans there, but we could reach out to the at-risk children or whatever, and our veterans will have a need or a sense of accomplishment of helping the future generations. So it's going to be evolving, and good luck.
A motion to receive the report would be in order.
I make a motion to receive the report.
Second.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Any other reports or resolutions to come forward at this time? Any old business? New business? Old business?
Old business. I think I saw something in the minutes that you were supposed to look into county phones for the drivers. Didn't I see that in the minutes?
The cost.
Costs.
That's right. You did see that.
Whoops. Next month, old business.
Oh,
We'll look into the phones.
oh, okay. So that'll be carried over till next month. I
Right.
assume. Okay.
New business. Miscellaneous.
I think I put these up for everybody. This is a brochure I received from Fiddler's Green, which is a home for veterans in Pigeon, or in Bad Axe, Michigan. And the individual that runs this home is actually looking to expand to Bay County. Now, this is a fully legitimate kind of endeavor. It is licensed, insured, and staffed properly, and all those other kind of things. So I just brought this by, and Mr. Wing is a caseworker there. And if you're interested, I can have him come in and explain what they're looking at. I think what you can see is, I believe they used an old school in Bad Axe. And I don't know what kind of support he would be looking for from the county. But, until the VA gets the new county home, or the new veterans home, which is supposed to be open somewhere in between the thumb and Saginaw County and Bay County.
Genesee.
Yeah, all the above, which is 5 years down the line. There's probably a void for this kind of a thing. This could fill in.
Yeah. The other thing is Mid-Michigan Community Action Agency, which had a board meeting, has gotten grant money from the federal government for veterans housing. So, and rehousing and things like that. So they're down the street on Columbus, and if there's a veteran looking for housing, they supposedly have money available, so that's another option for housing for veterans. So there's several of them out there. I know the shelter probably isn't the best spot for somebody to be at, so, but they could check with Mid-Michigan Community Action also.
Well, I know the Legion used to sponsor 2 rooms at the shelter for veterans, and
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we still do.
With that information you just spoke on, can you make sure Crystal gets that?
Right.
So that she can help the veterans that come in?
All right. Yep. Keith?
Under miscellaneous, yeah, a quick comment. I don't know if anybody has done an in-depth study, or even a study at all, about homeless veteran population here in Bay County. But in preparation for some of our grants, we looked into it and found, according to the Saginaw VA, those veterans who are homeless who go for care number about 17 or 18. 2 or 3 were ineligible for whatever reason. There's 12 or 13 that are sheltered or get housing vouchers. I'm not saying there's not a problem. It sure is for those who are homeless. But I don't know that it's to the number that some people may think. So, being that we have such a high population of veterans in our communities, I looked at the homeless situation for the county, the general population, and we're not listed as the top 25. And I just offer that somebody needs to continue to look into that, so that we're going to put the appropriate amount of resources into those facilities, or divert them to others that may be small housing or tiny houses or something like that. I also want to mention that I think at the last meeting of this body, under community input, it was, we were alluded to as receiving funds illegal or misappropriating the use of funds from Michigan Trust Fund. And for the record, I want to make it clear that Bay Veterans Foundation has never applied for or received funds from the Michigan Trust Fund. Mike had already talked about, we've come to the Soldier Sailors Relief Fund, and that's where the funding has come, and that was vetted through our county council and approved. So I just want to make sure that that's on the record to correct any fallacies or any misunderstandings that the community might have on that. And I will also say, as we continue to move forward, we will come back to this body and request funding for certain specific programs. So I just want to offer that too.
I just found out today, I want to mention to everybody that doesn't know that Frank Lewandowski passed away recently, and I just want to make his name comment about today that he did a lot for veterans in the area, a lot for the transportation, and I didn't realize he had passed away until today, so maybe some of you all didn't know that either, but he was at our meeting a couple months ago and came and spoke. So on behalf of Frank, I appreciate the work you do for veterans.
Any other announcements? Motion to adjourn would be in order.
I move to adjourn.
Or
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?